I've got Avril Mason here, who's the ladies team captain for the road running and cross country, and has been running with Shettleston for a long time and is one of the stalwarts of the club. So I just thought we'd have a few general questions for her, find out a bit about how Avril's getting on just now. And so the first thing I was keen to know is, how long have you been running and kind of how did you get involved in it?
So I think in terms of club running, I'm probably considered a bit of a late starter. But if you were to ask probably my family, they would say I've always ran. And like, I only really realised this not so long ago when there's like some neighbours in my family. My parents have always lived in the same house. And they used to see me like going to school in the morning, and I used to run to school in the morning when I was at primary school, and like I used to run to my cousin's house and get her. I was just always active, but not formally in a running club. And then probably the first ever race I did was when I went to secondary school. And I went into secondary school about 1984, 85 or something, which was kind of the time of teacher strikes in Scotland. So there was less, it was like a funny time, I think it's for school for teachers, and that there was less of the extracurricular stuff. And so that was just restarting. So it tends to be teachers that are really into a sport and they would then do something. So I just did everything. So there was like one of the PE teachers was really into volleyball. And I mean, like seriously, why was I playing volleyball? Badminton and cross-country running. And that was the 3 clubs that were in my school, and I was in all of them. I still continued on with volleyball. I was absolutely rubbish. And I played badminton, but I played badminton anyway because my parents played badminton. And I did cross-country, which I really enjoyed. And I think at school though, it was kind of like the main focus was to do Scottish schools and to go to Irvine Beach Park, because Scottish schools was always held at the beach park. And I can really vividly remember Scottish schools of us standing, like if you think how tiny you are and you're like standing with a vest, a pair of gym pants, an absolutely freezing cold wind, waiting for the start of cross country, and I've never been so cold in my life. And like also like so many memories of it, of just like going on the beach and then coming up that Dragon's Hill that everyone used to stand on because people were dying going up that Dragon's Hill. And but still loving it. I mean, we were having a great time. It was just good fun. Then when I was at uni, I did a variety of things, like lots of kind of gym aerobic type stuff. And then maybe when I was in 3rd year at university, I joined the Harriers and Hounds, and that was kind of more. They didn't have a coach at the time now, but they did do they did kind of sessions anyway. So we did, I think it was Monday and Wednesday night still, they had sessions on, maybe, I can't remember the exact nights. Anyway, but they did 2 lots of sessions per week, and then that kind of got me into more races. So I did that through uni, and then I actually went and lived in Australia for 2 years, and I lived in a wee beachy town called Terrigal, and they had a club called Terrigal Trotters.
Right.
So I was a member of them for 2 years, which they kind of had a Saturday, it's like very social club, Saturday run that was the entire club. So they had 250 runners on a Saturday that would just go in a long run. And I was working at Princess Royal Maternity Hospital, which there's a link here. So John McLaren used to work as a medical physicist in the Princess Royal.
Yeah.
And I think I had ran the women's 10K, and it used to always get, the results used to be published in the Herald the next day. And he was sitting with the Herald and said, "Oh, there's your name. Why are you not in a club? You should be in a club." And he said, "You should phone Elaine Mackay." And I phoned Elaine Mackay, who told me, come down to the Green. Yeah. And I went to the Green and met Bill. And I was the only girl for quite a few years. Definitely my best day is a Saturday. And so I think I'm most rested, and I tend to run well on a Saturday at my session. And the way my training has been over the past few years, when I've been concentrating on marathon and longer distance, we do a big session on a Saturday. So it tends to be a big volume, and I love that. So I'll have a session on a Saturday. Like maybe a few weeks back, I did a 10-mile run, maybe at marathon pace plus a minute, and then go straight into a 4 or 5 mile marathon pace, or even a bit quicker, at the end of it, which sounds okay, but actually once you get into the quicker bit, it's tougher than you think. So I love that kind of thing, and I get huge satisfaction in that, because I know that I can do that kind of session really well. Like, sticking to a pace and running at a pace, I can be good at that.
Do you not find as well, the older you get, if it's longer sessions, it's almost better because your body sort of needs that time to kind of get into the session and loosen up, and that's what I find. So actually a longer session, even if it sounds, it's going to be hard.
I mean, like, I'm so creaky. Yeah, I'm so creaky when I start. Like, I think sometimes I've joked with John that I should do almost like, when we go to the green, I should almost do a mile at a wee bit of a kind of a tempo pace before I go into a session, because it does take me a while to get into it. And so I just like accept, though, when I'm doing sessions that are faster, I'll progressively get quicker as the session goes on. So if it is 400s or something, you know what, I just go, the first one will be still, we're warming up. We're not going to pull a hamstring for anything. We'll just ease into it and know that I'll get quicker.
So while we're on training, what's your kind of typical week training then with John and his group, and what and how does it work?
So I suppose, our group it's made up primarily by Shettleston runners, but we've got people from all ages, different clubs. So I guess John has to kind of cater for a few different people, but most of us are endurance athletes, so we're all kind of training for longer stuff like 10k plus. Like, this is one of my favourites, is a kilometre, 5 400s in a kilometre. And they laugh because my last kilometre, sometimes my 400s and the kilometre can be quicker than my 400s. That actually, it's kind of amusing of like, actually, it doesn't matter if you so I can deal with short recovery floats. That doesn't affect me because it's all endurance stuff.
Marathon training specifically, how much more do you start putting in more double runs, like 2 runs a day, and what do you increase for marathon training, or and what kind of mileage do you get up to?
So I always run double on Monday and Wednesday anyway, because I run every single morning. So I have the Dawn Patrol gang meet every morning, 6:36, Belmont Street Corner, and that's standard Monday to Friday. So the days that I have a session, I double those days. So I do a morning run with Mike Deason and Billy Coyle, who'll be known to many Shettleston members, and that's just every day. So what I've kind of started doing because it's when you're trying to really increase your miles, you have to think at the beginning of the week how you're going to do it, because if you leave it all to the end, it's a killer. So quite often now on a Tuesday and a Thursday, I'll do a wee bit of a longer run. I'll extend my morning run.
Right, okay.
And then, as I say, the Saturday can quite often be quite a big session. So sometimes on a Saturday, if I do that kind of session, I can be, close to 17 miles with warm up, cool down and sessions. So sometimes my Saturday ends up being quite big. I won't run as long, maybe on a Sunday, if I do something as big as that. I remember when I was training for London last year, and John said he wanted to get me to, I was to run over 100 miles. And I was so dead. But I did it, but I was so dead. And 100 miles, I think, is really tough if you're working full time. And you're trying to get recovery. I think it's quite difficult to get, maybe not, it's probably the recovery that's the key, isn't it? Getting, you almost kind of really need to recover between runs for that. And
so you're one of the best Scottish ladies runners at the marathon just now, and longer distances, and right up there in cross country races. So what are your highlights?
I think last year was just, it was so brilliant from lots of things. I think I I don't know, I think I surprised myself, but I think it just shows that sometimes when you're fit, it's quite good to race. And so I think I had come back I must have come back from Portugal and did the Tom Scott. And, you know, I ran Tom Scott and I felt brilliant. Like you know, every now and again you just have a race where you start and you finish and you think, I just felt comfortable through it all, felt really good. And I never expected to run, I ran 57 minutes and I didn't expect to run that quick. Yeah. And I just felt great about it. And London was the 28th of April, and the week before they had one of those miler meets, the 10,000 metres. Yeah. And I don't think John wanted me to do it, because I think he was like going like, oh God, you know, what could happen? You've been training really well, like I can see in sessions you're really fit. You know, you could run this, and what if you just kill you? But I was kind of just, I really, really wanted to do it, because I think I'd never ran a 10,000 in the track ever. And a lot of people said, you will love it, because it's kind of like going into a pace and sticking to a pace, which is exactly what I did. Just like ran 84, 84, 84, 84. And I ran the whole thing pretty much myself. And again, I was like, I think I ran 35:07, and I didn't think I was able to do that. But it was just like, again, I felt great. The girls would kill me though if I don't say, in our group, we have a very comedy distance medley relay. And we'd made this weird kind of thing of, because the girls were in a team and the boys were a team, and distance medley relays is quite an American thing in American unis, and it's like a 400, 800 or 1200 in a mile, or 1600, and you've got your team. So, but to make it fair comparison of girls and boys, you had to be within a percentage of what was the world record. Oh, yeah. The women's record. The indoor one is like Jenny Simpson, Sydney McLaughlin, all these superstars. So we won that. So we were like, that was great. So just like a fun thing to do in the group. Where was that? And where is it held? On a training night, just for fun. Right.
Oh, okay, so it's amongst the training group, yeah.
Just like we were like gloating for ages on this win. All of the process is a long process, and I don't think anyone comes to anyone who's done some marathons then gets it and thinks, this is not a 1 year process. This is a lot of years of year on year of long running. And I think you build up to it, and just actually sort of recognising things about your body and how you train. Yeah. And so I think, you know, I would take lots of things of previous years when I've trained for marathons, and I think we've changed our training. Like I think when I first was training with John and we were doing marathons, we did it was a lot of miles, but we'd maybe do 16 times a mile. And you think, that's a different thing from doing a tempo and then into a sustained run at marathon pace. And I think it's better, it more replicates what a marathon is. Yeah. So I think I realised what things my body responds to and what actually tells you. Because I think you can be lured into a false sense. If you do 16 times a mile at marathon pace, but you've got even a 45, 30 second recovery, it's not actually the same. And so I think you learn of what is a truer representation of how fit you are and where you're at in the training. So I think my training has probably changed over years, and it's all just like, you know, having done various longer distance races, knowing what works for you and what you need to build into your training. But I don't think there's anyone out there that would say no one does. It's rare debut marathon for somebody to run amazing. No, everyone makes the same mistake.
Cross training and stuff. Have you done? I mean, I know you mentioned badminton. Do you still play badminton a bit? Or?
I really love badminton, and I'm probably not brilliant. I probably think I'm better than I really am. So I've got all the gear. I've got the skirts. I've got the works. I play badminton 3 times a week, which John probably doesn't realise that. I entered a doubles competition last year because I thought, I think I'm not bad. And I was absolutely annihilated. It was just, I really like badminton a lot. And I don't know whether it does anything for my running. I tend to run around a lot on the badminton court more than probably other people. But I really enjoy it.
So what job did you work full time?
I work full time, and I'm a paediatric endocrinologist, which I mean, it's a nice specialty in that a lot of our work is maybe outpatient based, and there's not so many emergency drama. So I have quite a regular working pattern. You know, I do have periods where I'm on call, but it tends to be on call by phone, and most of my hours are within what most people would have as a normal working pattern.
What's your favourite thing about, Shettleston and running for the club?
I think, when I joined at first, I was like I think there was not so many girls, and so it was quite rare for us to have a team. And I think that's been a really nice thing that's happened over the past few years. It's like, actually, we always have a team now. And amazing, and have 2 or 3 teams sometimes. And I think that's been brilliant. And I think because now I train with a lot of the girls as well, and so actually you realise that's how it works. That's how you get people to come and race, and you think, I'm training with you, and we're all training towards the same goals, and we're wanting to race and we want to win. And so I think that's been really great over the past few years, that actually we're quite we're probably seen as quite a strong team in a lot of events, because actually in some girls' events, actually having numbers, then does make you a strong team, especially now that a lot of them are, equivalent male and female, and they want, there's 6 for a team, then that puts us in a really strong position. So I think over the years, I think it's grown the women's section of the club, and that's really great. Although a lot of us don't live in Shettleston, there is still community stuff that goes on in the east of Glasgow to try and encourage young people to come and run. And so, I like to see all that, although I'm not maybe involved in helping. But I think as a club, I think that's really important that stuff goes on, and that there are people that are, helping support the club and volunteering. I think when I started in the club, Emmanuel and Tweldy and Seaguy and all those guys hadn't. It was just maybe I'd been for maybe 2 or 3 years, and they all joined. And I think the things that the club did to help and support them in those years was really impressive and so nice to see. And that even it's nice that you still see all of them, and that they still consider a lot of these people as their good friends because of that. And I really appreciate that the club is able to do that for people.
Training for just now, what obviously this year is going to be a bit out for racing, but the next few years.
It's so difficult just now, because I think it's difficult to think what is going to be. I was listening to this the Scottish Athletics, and Mark Monroe had a little video on Scottish Athletics, and I was listening to that, and you can see their struggle of how they're going to open up and how they're going to have races, and what that will look like, because nothing can be like what we've had before when they open up. And you think, I don't really know what will happen when we can ever think about a mass event. I think a lot of these things are going to take a different form. In my head at the moment, I'm training quite a lot in lockdown, and I've probably my mileage has gone up a little bit. And so I'm hoping for something, any race by the end of the year would be fantastic. And I think, if I was to, even get a half anywhere, I think that would be great. But I don't know how it's going to look. They're talking about having the Scottish national outdoor track is not likely to take the same format. But I don't envy the headache they have of trying to figure out how that can work or what it's going to look like. They kindly asked to be part of the Scottish Marathon project, trying to support runners to train towards the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and try and get a strong Scottish team for that. So you just think, well, why not? Why should I be you know, why put a limit on yourself? Why say that it's like an age factor? Do you know, like, I think just say, why not? Sorry for like the people involved in that, of like, they had planned some races, but all of those have been cancelled or rescheduled. And so it's headed up by Robert Hawkins, who everyone will know as Dad Off. And he obviously has got a bit of a hat in Scottish athletics for endurance coaching. And so there's like different tiers. So, I mean, they're clearly at the moment, it's like not a great time to be in marathon in Scotland because there's so many mega stars. But they're just trying to develop people in endurance. So there might be about a dozen people maybe who they offer you over the 2 years, which were supposedly the 2 years in the build up towards Birmingham Commonwealth Games. They offered a small amount of support which you could use for either travel to races or maybe for things like massage, physiotherapy. I think you know, Robert Hawkins is you know, been really great during this, and is still you know, he's been furloughed because of everything that's happened, but has still been in contact with all of us just to, you know, I guess, to support people and say how you get on with your training and is everything going well. It was just like, it's still like a really nice bonus, you know, you just think, oh, that's really nice and kind, and, you know, I'm really grateful for them to think of me and think, oh, you know, that they would support you in that way.
Brilliant. Okay, that's excellent. Okay, well, thanks for the chat, Avril.